Have you ever noticed that when you stop trying so hard, things start to fall into place? Whether it's with your career, friendships, or even relationships, there's a strange power in being absent at the right moments. You might think that attention is the key to everything, but what if the opposite is true? In today's video, we're talking about the art of ignoring, why it works, how it can change your relationships, and why it's especially powerful when it comes to women. This isn't about playing games, it's about tapping into one of the most misunderstood aspects of human nature, the allure of scarcity and mystery. This video isn't just for men, although I'll be focusing on how this works in the context of relationships with women. It's about understanding the deeper psychology that affects how we connect with others. Ready to dive in? Let's get started. Chapter 1. Why attention is like currency. Imagine you're in a marketplace. People are pushing products in your face, each one promising to be better than the last. But then, at the corner of the market, there's one stall. It's quiet. No aggressive sales pitch. No over-the-top promises. Just a small sign that reads, "Quality over quantity." Which stall would you check out? The one that's constantly pushing, or the one that invites you in with its simplicity and calm? Attention works the same way. Think of it as currency. When you give it away too easily, it loses its value. People don't chase after what's always available. They chase after what they have to work for, what they can't easily get. Women, like anyone else, value what is scarce. If you're constantly around, constantly available, they'll take you for granted. But when you step back and focus on your own goals, passions, and life, you become a mystery, and mysteries are always worth exploring. Chapter 2. The Push-Pull Dance. Think of a time when you felt an intense attraction to someone who seemed disinterested. Why was that? It wasn't because they were better than you, but because they didn't need you. They weren't constantly chasing your attention. They had their own life, and it made them incredibly appealing. This is the essence of the push-pull dynamic. You've probably heard it before in romantic contexts. The more you chase someone, the more they run away. But when you pull back, when you stop pursuing, they start chasing you. It's not a game, it's human nature. One of the most powerful historical examples of this dynamic is the story of Cleopatra and Julius Caesar. Cleopatra didn't chase Caesar. She was a woman of power and mystery, and that's exactly what intrigued him. She understood that by stepping back, she could make herself more desirable. Not by trying harder, but by focusing on what she wanted and not being available at every moment. Chapter 3. Confidence without words. There's a powerful quote by the philosopher Albert Einstein. The person who follows the crowd will usually go no further than the crowd. Confidence isn't about blending in, it's about standing out by being unapologetically yourself. Think of someone like Steve Jobs. Did he beg for attention? No, he didn't need to. His confidence came from a place of belief in his work, and people were naturally drawn to him. In relationships, confidence isn't about talking about how great you are or constantly seeking validation. It's about standing strong in who you are. Women, and people in general, are drawn to individuals who have a sense of purpose, who are confident in themselves, not because they need approval, but because they know their value. So when you stop desperately seeking approval and focus on becoming the best version of yourself, you instantly shift the energy in the room. People will notice, not because you're chasing them, but because you're standing tall in your own power. Chapter 4. The Scarcity Effect. Have you ever felt frustrated when you tried to buy something, only to find it was out of stock? The scarcity of the item suddenly made it more desirable. People rush to get things that are in short supply. This principle is called the scarcity effect. When you make yourself too available, always ready to drop everything, always answering texts and calls, you become like that product in abundance. And just like those goods sitting on the shelf, your worth diminishes in the eyes of others. It's important to note that scarcity isn't about playing hard to get. It's about recognizing your own value and making sure others recognize it too. In relationships, this means you don't need to be constantly available. You need to have your own passions, hobbies, and goals. When you do, you become more intriguing and more valuable. Chapter 5. Protecting your emotional energy. Here's a real-life example. I had a friend who was always available for everyone. He would drop anything to help, whether it was a late-night phone call or rearranging his schedule to accommodate others. At first, people appreciated it, but over time, they began to take it for granted. They started expecting it. This drained him emotionally, and over time, it started to affect his relationships. He realized that by constantly giving, he wasn't just neglecting himself, he was also teaching people to take him for granted. So he made a change. He started saying no to things that drained him, focusing on his own well-being and goals. The result was incredible. People started to appreciate him more, and he felt more balanced and energized. Chapter 6. Ignoring creates space for respect. Have you ever heard the saying, "Absence makes the heart grow fonder"? It's more than just a romantic notion. It's backed by psychology. When you pull back, you create space. And in that space, respect grows. Let's think about someone like Warren Buffett. He's one of the wealthiest and most respected men in the world, but he doesn't constantly seek validation. He's a man who values his time, his energy, and his privacy. This attitude commands respect. When you give people the opportunity to miss you, whether it's in friendships or relationships, they begin to appreciate your presence even more. Ignoring doesn't mean shutting people out. It means respecting your own boundaries and letting others respect them too. Chapter 7. The emotional magnetism of ignoring. Here's an interesting fact. When you pull back, you trigger something in others, emotions. This happens especially when you stop giving constant validation or attention. People start to wonder, why are they pulling away? Did I do something wrong? Why don't they need me? This emotional tension creates a magnetic pull. It's the same reason why we sometimes feel an intense desire for something we can't have. The emotional push and pull are at play. It's not manipulation, it's a natural dynamic that exists in all relationships. Think about how tension builds in great stories. In movies, novels, or real life, it's the moments when the characters are apart that create the most intrigue. The same applies in relationships. Chapter 8. How to master the art of ignoring. Mastering the art of ignoring isn't about being cold or distant. It's about balance. Start by setting boundaries. Your time is precious and it should be treated as such. When people see that you value your own time, they'll begin to value it too. Focus on your growth. Spend time on your goals, your passions, and your personal development. When you make yourself the priority, others will follow suit. But most importantly, be patient. Ignoring isn't about immediate results. It's a long-term game. Over time, as you grow stronger and more confident, people will naturally begin to respect you more. And there you have it. The power of ignoring isn't about playing mind games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about recognizing your own value and letting that value shine through. When you stop chasing and start focusing on yourself, you'll notice something incredible. People will start chasing you. The right people, the ones who truly appreciate you, will begin to notice. So take the time to focus on your own growth. Set healthy boundaries and remember that your attention is a powerful tool. Use it wisely.